Okay, so good morning once again. Today we're going to continue our discussion on financial planning. There are two types of financial planning. Generically, you have short-term and long-term. What we're going to discuss today is long-term, and then next Tuesday we'll have the short-term plus the other topics that we haven't covered, like personal finance, etc. Okay, now actually most of this we have discussed, but there are some additional topics here that I added. Okay, so most probably, guys, this might not have been discussed in other classes of Busifin, but I'm adding it because I want us to have more knowledge, especially about two things about financial planning long term and also the use of Excel. Okay, so what we want to know, guys, what we want to find out today is, given these projects, Project Y and Project Z, which of these are we going to choose? Okay, so if you notice, guys, so far what I have given you are just the cash flows. We did not really study how are these estimated. Okay, so there's a way to estimate this, and when you go to in college, guys, when you take financial management, that will be studied. So this came from actually the estimated or projected income statement. And then the income statement, after you get the net income after tax, we convert it into cash flows by, for example, adding depreciation, which are not in cash expense, or other non-cash expenses that were incurred in or that were deducted to your revenues. So these are all cash flows, okay? Cash flows. So generally, when we talk of projects, we have two types of projects. So it can be, projects can be considered as, okay. Number one, they can be considered as independent projects, or they can be considered as mutually exclusive. So what's the difference between the two? Independent projects, guys, as the name suggests, the choice of one does not really affect the other. Okay, so for example, if these two were independent projects, we can choose both projects, because the choice of one, let's say Project Y, will not mitigate against the choice of Project Z. Okay, so that's what independent projects are. When they're mutually exclusive, as the name suggests, we are excluding others when we choose one option. So if these are mutually exclusive projects, then when we choose one, then that will exclude Z. Okay, so let's discuss that in the course of our topic today. So we'd like to determine which project is feasible, Project X or Project Y or Project Z. We learned before that in order to assess whether a project is feasible or not, we use certain metrics like net present value. So what's the formula for net present value? If you take a look at this, this is just you're just discounting, right? This is just the discount factor. So we're just getting the present value. So we are getting the present value from time t is equal to 1 to time t is equal to n of all the cash flows. We're dividing it with the discount factor, or multiplying it with the discount factor, I mean. Okay, and then we subtract the initial investment. Okay, actually, if the initial investment is in negative, then we can already include that here in the formula here. It will be the summation of your cash flow, t ranging from 0. So pwede dito t is equal to 0 na. Pwede natin isasama yung initial investment natin. T is equal to 0 hanggang t is equal to n. So no need for this one, for the initial investment. Okay, because we can include it here already when we get the sum of the discounted cash flows. Okay, so that's a formula for net present value. Okay, so let's now compute for the net present value for project Y and project Z. There are two ways to go about this. The long way is to get the present values of each of the cash flows and then add them to get the NPV, or we can use the NPV function of Excel. So let's do that. Let's do both. What we're going to do is we're going to use this WAC 12.6. Let's name this for easy reference so that we don't keep on using our mouse to refer to that B29. Okay, or maybe let's just use escape. Let's just use the first cell here, B20. Okay, WAC. Enter. So we now have a name for our weighted average cost of capital, as you see in our name box. Okay, so the question now is, what's the net present value for project Y? So there are two ways to do this. First, let's compute for the present value. So you use negative PV, okay, negative because we want the answer to be in positive. The rate, we can just type W and then WAC appears first and then tab. Okay, so it's faster instead of using the mouse. Enter is 0, comma. We're not considering this as an annuity. It's not even a uniform stream of cash flows. And then future value is that amount, 1, 2. Type, we ignore because this is not an annuity. Control Enter. So as expected, the present value of 1, 2, which is the cash flow now, it's the same as 1, 2. And if we drag this formula to the right, okay, this means that 420 in 1 year's time is equal to 373, assuming the rate is 12.6. Okay. Then since these are now all in present values, we can sum them. Okay, sum. Okay. 159,856. Let's just add 2 decimal places there. Okay. All right. And then for this one is equal to NPV. Okay, we use NPV function. Our rate is the same, WAC. And then our values, take note, guys. Our values should be the one starting with after year 1. And then we add the year 0 value. Let me just format that. 2. Okay. All right. I'll give you a few seconds, guys, to work on this. Once you're done, kindly chat there to signify that you were able to compute for 159,856 using both methods. Okay. So I'll give you time to work on that. Sorry, nakamute pala ako. As I said, I hope the others are also following along as we compute for the NPV. For those of you who are done with Y, kindly do Z also. Okay, thank you, Ava. So how about the rest, guys? I hope you are following along. So kindly compute also for the NPV for project Z. Okay, I haven't received any feedback from the others. Ada, thank you. How about the rest, guys? Kamusta? Nasundan nyo ba to? Okay, thank you. All right, so I hope, guys, you're following along. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them. Okay, so based on NPV, we say that project Y is okay because NPV is positive, and also project Z is okay. So if I'm going to ask you now, if these two projects are independent, which project should we choose? Thank you, Hans. If these two projects Y and Z are independent, which of the two should we choose? Kindly chat, please. If they're independent, what will be our answer, guys? Independent sila. Ano pipiliin natin, si Y o si Z? Okay, so my project Z. Okay, my project Y. Okay, so medyo divided yung house. Okay, Ada, thank you. Hans, thank you. Eva, thank you. Basti, thank you. Okay, so the answer, guys, is some of you got it, some of you did not get it, but the answer, guys, is ano? Independent. So pag independent, sabi natin, okay, the choice of one does not exclude the other. So both projects, guys, both project Y and Z can be chosen if they are independent projects. What will be a situation where we cannot choose both subjects, both projects, if they are independent? That situation is when, okay, may budgetary constraints tayo. Okay, kunyari, so pareho silang independent yung projects natin, and the budget is only up to 2 million. So in that case, kung may budgetary constraints, then we will have to choose one of them kasi taken together, the total is 3 million. No? Limited yung budget at 2 million. So it will be just one. So of course, in that instance, then we will choose project Z kasi mas mataas yung ano niya, yung net present value. Okay? Okay, so that's the answer also if the situation is the projects are mutually exclusive. If they're mutually exclusive, then that means that we will have to choose only one project. And the choice is definitely for project Z because of the higher net present value. Okay, pause muna ako. Clear yun, guys? Clear ba yung concept ng independent at saka mutually exclusive? Pag independent siya, kahit ilan yung pipiliin natin, malilimit na lang yan kung may budgetary constraints. No? Okay, if they're mutually exclusive, then it should only be one choice lang. Okay, thank you. All right. So once again, guys, if they're mutually exclusive, then we will have to choose Z. Kaso nga lang, we will have a problem with that. No? Why is that so? Take a look at the initial investment. Si Y, 1.2 million. Si Z, 1.8 million. So natural, guys, since mas mahal yung investment natin kay Z, okay, then chances are the cash flows will be higher. Let's take a case in point. Suppose nag-iisip tayo na mag-open ng panibagong branch, no? So that's a capital budgeting problem, no? So mag-open ba tayo dito sa Makati or sa Manila? Okay, let's suppose, guys, that in terms of location, mas grabe yung location ng Makati, nasa Sept, Ayala mismo, no? Example lang, no? So yung Manila, sabihin natin nasa in some place na hindi naman kasing dami ng foot traffic, no? na dumadaan na tao. So, syempre siguro mas mahal yung office build, yung office space, etc. So we'll have a higher initial investment for the one in Makati. Yun ang option Z natin. Yung kay Manila mas mura. So chances are, guys, if the location, alam naman natin, I don't know if you have discussed that in marketing, it's always location. Very critical yung yan, no? Critical yung factor na yan. Sa core piece natin sa marketing, it's the place factor. So, Project Z will have a higher initial investment, higher initial cost as compared to Project Y. But the return, guys, is that since mas malaki yung foot traffic natin kay location sa Makati, then there will be the probability of generating higher revenues is bigger for Project Z. Hence, higher cash flow, bigger cash flows, and then net effect, higher yung NPV. Okay? So the main problem here is that we might be comparing apples and oranges because one has an initial investment of 1.2 M, the other has an initial investment of 1.8 M. So parang hindi yata match yung comparison. Okay? So exaggeratedly, it's like David and Goliath comparison. Exaggerated naman yan. So is there a way of really comparing the two, taking into consideration the initial investment? Yes, there is one. And that's what we call the Profitability Index. So sa Profitability Index, guys, ang ginagawa natin, kukunin natin present values of your cash inflows and then i-divide natin the present value of your cash outflows, your initial investment. Okay? So that we are, para comparable na sila. No? If we divide both by their initial investment, then we're making the denominator as 1. So parang sa bawat piso ng investment nila, then now the numerator, the profitability index becomes more, it's more a reasonable way to compare between the two projects. So we're going to compare yung inflows nila. So for project Y, easily guys, pwede natin sana i-sum up na lang to. No? Ito na yun di ba? Ito na yung present values nila. Okay, but just to practice, guys, we can use the NPV function. NPV, our rate is our WACC. Okay, comma. Our values are yung ano lang, simula lang ng year 1. Okay? Kasi yung hinahanap natin dito, present value of our inflows. And let's compare that with, if we just got the sum of the present values, ito. Okay. Pag kinuha natin yung sum niyan, we have discussed this before, guys. It should be the same. Okay, pareho lang siya. No? 1359856, exactly the same year. Okay, and let's do the same for project Z. Is equal to NPV. Rate is your WACC, comma. Values natin, again, dito lang sa future cash flows, yung mga inflows natin. Okay, 2044. So mas malaki yung present value ng inflows ni Project Z. However, i-divide natin siya sa outflows. Okay, and then I'll put the negative sign here para maging positive yung outflows natin. It's equal to negative 1.8. And then with this one, guys, we can now get the index, profitability index, by dividing the present value of your inflows with the present value of outflows. And then color code nga natin to para kasi yung project Z lahat naka light blue. So this is equal to this one divided by this one. Okay? All right, paki-chat nga guys kung if you were able to get 1133 for Y and 1136 for Z. Kindly chat, please. I hope there will be more responses. Okay, good. More are responding. Thank you so much. Let me check. Thank you. Okay, very good, very good. Let me check, guys, kung may question. A different value when I use the NPV, Mark. Let me get back to you, Mike. Okay, so si Mark lang may question. Mark, could you unmute yourself?
Hello.
Which one? Saan dito?
Sir, for both projects po, I just followed your formula.
Okay, so sige para for the learning of the class, Mark, I'll make you co-host.
All right, sir.
So could you kindly share your screen? Okay, this is a good opportunity for us to stop share muna ako. Okay, so let's see what Mark did. So this is an opportunity for us to learn.
Okay, sir, kita po ba?
Yeah, okay.
Sir, okay, for this one, I just use the sum. Kasi
Sum
iba, so
ng,
I just like use the sum function instead of the NPV.
yeah, sum ng
So,
C32, yes,
yes, sir.
up to G32.
Yes, sir. Pero if I use the if I use the NPV
NPV, sige
function,
nga. Okay,
so it's just whack, right? Whack.
okay.
And then it's this one.
Don't use the present values, Mark. Use the original values.
Okay. Oh.
Yan, oo.
There we go. All right.
Oo, kasi pag ginamit mo ngayon yung present values, talagang maiiba na. Kasi you're getting again the present value of the present value. No?
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right,
Okay,
sir.
good. That's a good opportunity for us to learn. Huh? Salamat, Mark. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Very good. I appreciate the question. Okay, any more questions, guys? Chat. Okay. Sir, di po nagpakita yung WAC sa choices. Okay. Ada, could you unmute yourself, please? Okay,
Hello po, sir.
Yeah, sige. Ada, I'll make you co-host also. Asan? Paki-unmute mo muna yung sarili mo. Okay. So, again, I'll make you co-host. Again, guys, this is a good opportunity for us to learn. Okay. Ada, could you kindly share your screen?
Sige pa.
Sige. Okay, pero alam ko na kung bakit, ano yung reason, kung bakit hindi lumalabas yung WAC. Pero let's look at it. Sige.
I type NPV.
NPV, okay. NPV.
Tapos.
Open.
It doesn't.
W, no? W muna, no?
Opo,
O, walang lumalabas, no? Ibig sabihin, hindi ka pa nakapag-create ng object, no? You haven't created that object called WAC. So, escape muna yan. Escape mo. Okay, pag hindi lumalabas, ibig sabihin, wala pang ganong object. So, you go to B20. Go to B20. Okay. B20. Okay, na-miss out mo to. Siguro lumabas ka muna sandali, no? Okay, yan. Tinan mo sa name box. Wala pang WAC. So, you type mo muna WAC para may object na WAC ang pangalan.
Saan po ito?
Sa name box, sa taas, sa upper right. Asa yung name box mo diyan? Upper left pala, upper left.
Ito pa.
And then punta ka muna sa 12.6. B20, punta ka muna ng B20. Yan, okay. Tapos tumingin ka sa upper left. Nakikita mo doon yung B20 na nakalagay doon.
Ito pa.
Yan, oo. Type mo WAC dyan. Type mo WAC.
Okay.
Parang absent ka nung enter mo.
Na-enter ko na po.
Ayan, sige, balik ka dun sa ano. Hindi mo pa nagagawa yung iba, ha? Ada?
Yan kasi nag-error po siya kanina.
Oo, kasi wala pa yung pangalan na WAC. No? Sige, punta ka muna dyan sa NPV.
I-try ko po.
Yan, sige. Open parenthesis. Type W.
Yan na po.
Ayan, tinan mo lumalabas siya. Tapos tab ka na lang, tab. Tab ka muna. Balik. Ayan. Wag mo na i-type siya. Ulitin mo. Backspace ka, backspace. Okay, pag type mo ng W, lalabas yung WAC, di ba? Tab na lang. Press tab. Tab. Sa computer mo, tab.
Yan pa.
Yan, para mabilis, no? Then comma. Ayan, okay na ha?
Thank you po.
Sige. Thank you, Ada. Okay, appreciate ko guys yung mga questions nyo, no? Okay, kasi that's a learning opportunity for all. Okay, so yung mga experiences natin guys, that can be a lesson for everybody. That's why I really appreciate yung nag-raise kayo ng concerns kung hindi nyo nakukuha. Because it's a very good opportunity, once again, for everyone. Okay, so thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ada, for your questions. All right, so here we can now conclude, guys, that project Z is better, no? Kasi it's able to generate more inflows, no? Present value of inflows for every 1 peso of outflow. 1.136 ito 1.133. Okay, so It's also possible, guys, na si Project Y ang pipiliin natin kahit mas maliit yung ano niya, no? Mas maliit yung NPV based on Profitability Index. Kasi nga here, we're taking into consideration the initial investment. But if, guys, if they have the same initial investment, well, hindi na natin kailangan kunin yung Profitability Index, no? But you can still compute for it. But definitely, if they have the same initial investment, then magiging consistent yung decision natin using NPV or Profitability Index. Okay, so since the present value of the inflows will be higher and the present value of the outflows will be the same, so pareho lang yung result kung ng NPV at saka Profitability Index. Okay? Okay, thank you, Ada. Okay, so I hope that's clear, guys. I hope that's clear, no? So dito, nag-profitability index tayo kasi magkakaiba yung ano nila, magkaiba yung initial investment. And based on NPV, mas okay si Project Z by virtue of having a higher NPV. However, we took into consideration that they have different initial investments. So we do it one step further by computing for the profitability index, and it turns out that Z is still the better one. Okay, with a higher profitability index. Okay, guys, let's go now to internal rate of return. So sa IRR, kinumpita natin dati to. Sabi natin, how is IRR computed? Okay, if you take a look at the formula, IRR is equal to ito. Ang ginagamit dito, guys, again, present value to, no? Cash flow divided by 1 plus the rate. However, the rate that we use here is not the WACC. Okay, this is the peculiar thing about the IRR. Pag kino-compute natin yung present values, hindi natin ginagamit yung WACC. Unlike in NPV, guys, pag NPV, pag kinukuha natin yung present value, ang ginagamit natin yung IRR. That's why, guys, it's possible na magkakaroon ng conflict talaga between NPV and IRR. Kasi magkaiba yung paano nila kino-compute, no? NPV uses the WACC as the rate of return. IRR uses the IRR itself. So, kailangan i-compute muna natin yung IRR. Okay, so this is the present value of the inflows minus the initial investment, and then we equate it to 0 in order to compute for the IRR. That's why, if you remember, guys, last time I said the IRR is that rate of return when your NPV is equal to 0. Okay, because that's how we compute for the IRR. We equate the difference between the present value of the inflows less the outflows. We equate it to 0. And that's precisely, this is precisely the definition of the NPV. Okay, so let's compute for the IRR. So for Y, it's equal to IRR. So this is pretty straightforward. So we have the values. So dito sa IRR, tama ang Excel nung sinasama natin yung initial value. Okay, so it's 18.23. And let's check lang, no? If we compute for the net present value, the rate is IRR. Ito din ang gagamitin natin. Comma, values will be, okay, starting with the future and then plus natin yung initial investment. Okay, so this is the computation, and then we can see that it's 0. So tama nga, ng net present value at IRR, using IRR is equal to 0. Okay, so we were able to prove that tama yung concept na yun. No? At saka tama din yung IRR. Kasi pag hindi naging 0 yung net present value dito, actually hindi naman siya talagang 0, no? But it's a very, very small number. No? Kung hindi naging 0 to, guys, then ibig sabihin mali yung IRR natin. This will only become 0 yung NPV if the rate of return used is your IRR. Okay, so because that's precisely what the definition of IRR is. Okay, and then let's go to Project Z, IRR. Okay, values natin is this cash flows. Okay. And then let's check using the NPV. NPV is using the rate of the IRR, comma, the values, and then plus the initial investment. Okay, so it's also 0. Okay, so we were able to confirm that indeed the IRR for Project Y is 18.23 and the IRR for Project Z is 17.39. So based on IRR, which project are we going to choose? Paki-chat, please. Based on based on IRR, sino yung mas pipiliin natin na project? Okay. Now, may I have more responses, guys? Okay, I'll wait for, I'll give you more time so that you can compute for, kung may questions kayo guys, if you want me to flash the formula, please do so, huh? So, lilima pa lang. Okay, project Y. Okay. That project Y then. So the rest, guys, I haven't. Okay. Ano ito? Nag 18 decimal places. Dalawa lang. Okay. All right. Y. Okay, so you're correct, guys. Project Y. Bakit Project Y? Kasi mas mataas, guys, yung IRR nila. Yung internal rate of return. And by the way, guys, these two projects are acceptable. Okay, acceptable siya kasi pareho silang greater than the WACC natin. Our WACC is 12.6. So whether it's Project Y or Project Z. So if these are independent projects, then okay sila pareho, Project Y or Project Z based on IRR. Both projects having IRRs greater than the weighted average cost of capital, which is 12.6. Okay, then which is the better project? It's Project Y. Kasi mas mataas yung return ni Project Y kaysa return ni Project Z. Now, there goes the conflict. Ito yung sinasabi natin. Nagko-conflict si NPV at saka si IRR. Sabi ni NPV, choose Project Z, which is consistent also with the Profitability Index. However, when it came to IRR, turns out that Project Y is better. Okay, sabi nga natin guys, it's possible for it to have the conflict kasi iba yung pag-compute nila, iba yung return na ginagamit nila. When computing for the present values, si NPV ang ginagamit, si WACC. When computing for the present value, si IRR ang ginagamit yung IRR mismo. Okay? Okay, so we will have a conflict there. However, sabi natin, when there's a conflict between NPV and IRR, always choose the NPV. Kasi nga, you know now the reason kung bakit. Kasi ang rate of return na ginagamit natin sa IRR is IRR itself. Okay? Instead of using the weighted average cost of capital. All right. Hence, we now have this concept of modified IRR. Okay, so it's the MIRR. Okay, so anong difference ito, guys? Anong difference ng MIRR at saka IRR? Sa MIRR, ginagamit natin, guys, yung yung WACC ito, yung K na to. We're using the WACC in order to solve for our modified IRR. So let's compare. So si Project Y, di ba, ang IRR niya is 18.23. So I'll just copy that. So let's compute for the MIRR of Project Y. So this is equal to MIRR. Okay, sabi dito, returns the internal rate of return for a series of periodic cash flows considering both cost of investment and interest on investment of cash. So this is telling us that yung cost of investment natin dito, we will be using the WACC, and the investment of cash also the WACC. Parehong WACC ang ginagamit natin. Values again, sign everything, comma. Finance rate is your WACC. So W, tab natin, comma. The investment rate is also your WACC. Okay. So this is how we compute the MIRR. Okay. All right, Control Enter. So we have now MIRR at 15.45%. So if we compute for the NPV at MIRR, it will also be positive. Rate, MIRR, comma, values, this one, A plus, this one. Okay, Naka-percentage siya. Control 1 number, 2 decimal places. Okay, so it's positive, no? It's positive. At the MIRR, okay, this is the modified internal rate of return. Okay din yung ano natin, okay din yung project. And also, we were expecting this kasi yung MIRR natin is greater than the weighted average cost of capital. Okay, so for project Z, let's copy. IRR ni project Z is this amount. Okay, then MIRR natin, MIRR. Okay, values natin, once again, guys, is this one. Okay. Sorry, nandito ako. NPV pa lang iniisip ko. Values, that one. Then finance rate, WACC. Kama, reinvestment rate, WACC pa rin. Okay, control enter. Okay, so it's 15.51. And then let's compute for the NPV of this one. NPV, okay, rate is using the MIRR. Values natin is starting with year 1 plus yung year 0 to get this. Okay, let's format. Okay. All right. So now, what's our conclusion, guys? Based on MIRR ni Y is 15.45, NPV niya 74, MIRR ni Z, so sorry, this should be Z. MIRR of project Z is 15.51, greater than 15.45. And that's why yung NPV niya 90 and NPV niya at MIRR at 90,000 is greater than that of Y. So yung MIRR, guys, that will give a result that's consistent with the NPV. Kasi parehong ginagamit na lang yung WACC. Okay? So I'll give you a few seconds, guys. Please chat kung nakuha nyo to. Yung 15.45 at saka 74,000, 15.51 at saka 90,000. I'll give you a few seconds to work on that and paki-chat kung okay na. Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm waiting for the others. Tatlo pa lang guys yung nag-chat. Let's wait for the others to also be able to do their worksheet. Okay, that's good. Okay, a few more guys, a few more seconds. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thank you. All right, sorry, Ava. Okay, yung MIRR modified siya, no? Modified internal rate of return. Ginawa siya with a different definition. Ang definition niya is that we don't use the IRR. Ang ginagamit natin sa pag-compute ng present values is the WACC itself, and the reinvestment is also WACC. Ito medyo may typographical error to, no? So dapat K din to. I'm sorry about this. So pakita ko lang ulit, no? Notice that ito yung cash flows natin. Ang finance rate natin is WACC itself. Tapos reinvestment rate is WACC also. So both WACC. Okay? So that's the difference. Iba siya kaysa dun sa sa IRR. Sa IRR, ang ginagamit natin na reinvestment rate is the IRR itself. Okay? And the MIRR will always be consistent with the results of NPV. Okay? So kung sinabi ko niya rin NPV na choose project Z, MIRR will also result into the same output. Okay, thank you, Ava, for the question. So may question pa ba? Okay, no more questions? Sige. So let's continue. Sometimes, guys, companies would engage in projects if they follow a certain standard. Kunyari, dapat yung time to recover the finance, the initial investment should be at least half of the life of the project. Kunyari ganun, no? So if you have a project that's whose term is 10 years, so dapat by 5 years dapat ma-recover na yung initial investment. So may companies na naggumagawa ng ganung decision rule, no? So let's now learn how to compute for the payback period. Dalawang klase, payback at saka discounted payback. So let's start with the payback period. Itong initial investment natin kay Y is 1.2. Now, in how many years marirecover natin yung 1.2 na yan? So sa first year, 420, hindi pa. So second year, 420 plus 480, that's 900, hindi pa rin. Kasi 1.2 million yung investment natin. Sa third year, dito na marirecover, no? Kasi 900 plus 320, that's 1.22 million. So, na-recover na natin. Okay? Bago magtapos yung third year, guys, we were able to recover already completely the initial investment of 1.2. Okay, so how are we going to compute for that? Using Excel. Okay, so what we need to do is to cumulate this. I-add natin. So let me show you a secret, a technique to get cumulation. Sum natin si 1.2. Kasi ang gagawin natin, 1.2 plus 420, then 1.2 plus 420 plus 480. So every year, guys, dinadagdag natin yung cash flows. Okay, so how do you do that? So you start with the initial cell and then colon. When you type colon, what happens, guys? Inuulit niya, no? So that's B85 to B85. Now, syempre, igagalaw natin yan to the right. If we move that to the right, ang mangyayari lang, magiging B86 to B86, tapos B87 to B87. Pareho silang gagalaw, no? Okay, let me illustrate that. Oops. Well, no? So if we drag this to the right, syempre, ang mangyayari, wala din. Gagalaw lang siya, C85 to C85 na. No? Okay, tapos C86. So what we need to do here is that ito, guys, if we fix natin to, i-fix natin yung column. Bakit column, guys? Kasi ikakopy natin yung formula pakanan. So ibig sabihin, the row position is not changing. So no need to fix the row. So yung column lang. Okay, so if we sum this up and then copy to the right. Okay? So now kita natin, guys, na okay, we were able to do cumulation. So dito sa column C na to, after copying ko nga sandali yung year para mas clear sa atin. Control C, paki-copy lang guys yung year. Okay. So dito sa year 1, hindi pa natin fully recovered yung 1.2 million, no? Kulang pa tayo ng 780. Pagdating dito sa year 2, ilan pa yung kulang natin? Kulang pa tayo ng 300. Okay? Pagdating natin ng year 3, kasi ang makukuha natin cash flow 320. Okay, so ma-fully recover na natin yung 320. That's why ang natira na lang 20. Okay, so it's after year 2 and before the end of year 3. Okay, so how do we do that? It's equal to, so it's 2 point something years, no? Plus, ay anong i-add natin? Ang gagawin natin, guys, it should be the proportion. Ilan pa yung kailangan natin? 300. Ilan yung makukuha sa year 3? 320. So we're going to do a proportion. Ang assumption natin dito is that cash flow is obtained uniformly throughout the period. So I'm going to put here a negative sign para maging positive to, and then divided by 320. So we're prorating, no? Pino-proportional natin yung and assume natin yung 320 na yan. That cash flow is obtained uniformly throughout the period. So let's see, enter. Okay, 2.9. Iwan lang natin 2.9 kasi years yan. Okay, so it will take us around 2.9 years in order to recover yung investment natin. Okay, doing the same for project Y. Z pala. Sum natin. Okay, this one. Colon. Okay. And then let's go here to the first one. F4, $B9. Okay, so now can see guys. No? So the payback period will be on year 3 plus a certain value. So ilan pa ba yung kailangan natin ma-recover? 410 pa sa year 3. Ilan ba yung cash flow natin sa year 4? 710. So kasyang-kasya, no? So this will be equal to negative of 410 prorated against 710. Okay. So how many years are you getting, guys? Kindly chat, please. Okay. All right. 3.6. Yeah. Okay. 3.6 ba? Okay. Round off na lang natin to 1 decimal, please. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Around 3.6. No? You're correct. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your answers. Tama yung answer natin. 3.6. Babaan ko na lang. Okay. So it will take longer, no, for Project Z to be to recover the initial investment. Not kasi syempre mas malaki siya, bigger amount. So project Y, guys, mas mabilis yung yung payback nito, no? Kaso mas mababa yung NPV. So usually sa naman sa pag mag-aano yung companies ng ng decision kung tutuloy yung project, hindi nagiging una yung payback period, no? Ang nauuna talaga yung NPV niya, yung cash flows. That's a more important measure as compared to payback. But still, it doesn't hurt, guys, to know kailan natin ma-recover yung natin, yung investment natin. Okay, now ito, guys, medyo may flaw, FLAW to, no, conceptually, kasi ina-adapt natin siya, di ba? And we know that we cannot actually add this kasi they belong to different time frames. So pasok tong discounted payback. Si discounted payback, kinukuha mo natin yung discounted values sila, yung present values, and then we're going to now cumulate it and then compute for the discounted payback. So let's do that. Negative PV. Okay, ang rate natin is your WACC. NPER. Ano NPER natin? Okay, hindi ko nakopya. Is this one, comma, PMT wala, future value is this one. Okay. All right, so these are our present values. No? Na-solve na natin to kanina, so you can actually just link it there. No? So is equal to sum natin. Cumulative sum natin, F4, fix the column. Okay, then copy to the right. All right. So notice, guys, na mas mahaba yung mas matagal yung discounted payback kasi ang ginagamit natin hindi yung original cash flows. Ang ginagamit natin yung mga payback cash flows, no? Okay, so this will be equal to, so ilang years siya? Okay, ilang years, it will be dito yung dito magiging positive. So 4 years, no? 4 plus, i-add natin yung remaining. Ito yung remaining. Okay, out of the, okay, yung present value yung kinukuha natin. Oops, ano nangyari dito? Sum ng, oops, mali, sorry. Ba't yung ba yung nakuha ko dito? Should be this one. Okay. Okay, it's 4.2. No? 4.2. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute, guys, to compute for the discounted payback period for Z. Okay, guys. I hope you get the same answer. 4.5 ba years? Thank you. Thank you, Mario. Thank you. Salamat. Ay, sorry, may nagpaan ba dito? PV, ada saan PV?
Sa discounted payback period po, sir.
This one, anong row siya? Which row?
96 po.
Okay, yung ano lang, PV formula lang. Naglagay tayo ng, yung linagay natin dito yung ano, zero, wala yata kanina to dito eh. So, kinapi natin.
Okay po, sir. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you, Ada. Okay. Pakichat nga guys kung nakuha niyo yung 4.5, no? I noticed na si Mario meron na. You should be getting 4.5 for the discounted payback period. And as mentioned a while ago, guys, this will be longer than, okay, thank you. Yeah, very good. This will be longer than the payback. Okay, theoretically, guys, mas sound si discounted payback, no? Kasi si payback period, sabi natin, we add the cash flows belong to different time frames, which we said was theoretically mali. So mas tama si discounted payback period. Okay? So dito 4.2 and it will be longer than the payback period. Okay, so this guys ends our discussion of this worksheet. Okay, so let me quickly review. Sabi natin yung projects could be independent or mutually exclusive. Pag independent, pwedeng piliin lahat, no? Ang nagko-constraint na lang dyan kung yung budget. Pag mutually exclusive, the choice of one excludes the other. No? And mutual. Pag pinili mo naman yung isa, hindi na pwede yung isa. So we reviewed how to compute for the NPV. Sabi natin, the project is okay if the net present value is positive. Okay. The bigger the NPV, the better. So if projects are mutually exclusive, pipiliin natin the one with the highest NPV. However, guys, kung magkakaiba yung initial investment nila, that might be a question, no? Kasi magkakaiba yung ano eh, yung initial outflow nila eh. That's why we come up with the Profitability Index para medyo comparable na yung mga ano nila, yung NPVs, no? Okay, so we also looked at IRR. Sabi natin sa IRR, guys, NPV will always be 0. Kasi that's how you compute for the IRR. And the decision rule for IRR is that if the IRR is greater than the weighted average cost of capital, then okay yung project natin. And we said that sometimes IRR might conflict with NPV, always follow NPV. Which led us to compute for the modified internal rate of return, which always agrees with the NPV method. And then yung payback, kung ilang number of years muna bago ma-recover natin yung investment natin. Okay, it can be payback or discounted payback. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Kasi medyo iba-budget natin, time natin. Ang goal natin, guys, matapos yung tatlong to. Ito, guys, i-record ko ulit, no? By the way, guys, were you able to see the video that I posted, yung dalawa? I'm sorry, I was using another section and an additional recording. Kasi in-adjust ko lang yung number of periods, no? Para makompleto din yung ano, para magkaroon ng value yung sa cumulative interest. So nakita nyo ba, guys? Basti na-post ko na, Basti. Na-post ko na yung, I think last week pa ba? I think last week pa yung videos, no? So please watch them, guys. Dalawang videos yan. Okay, so let's go here, guys. Second worksheet natin. Here we have a scenario where you have different cash flows, syempre. Okay. You have a cash flow A with period project life of 6 years, ito 4 years, ito 5 years, ito 8 years. So ang question nito, sinong pipiliin natin dito? Which project is best? If they have unequal lives, anong gagawin natin? Okay, first let's compute for the NPV. Tingnan natin kung sinong pinaka mataas NPV. And chances are, guys, kung sino mas mahaba na project, possible, no? Na sila yung mas mataas na NPV. Let's check first. NPV, ang rate natin nasa taas, although pare-pareho naman silang 12%. Values natin, remember, only year 1. So dito tayo magsisimula. Okay. Now, pag dito, ito lang hin-highlight natin, pag kinapin natin to the right to, mamamali si Project D. So gawin natin, i-extend natin to, okay, hanggang dito sa dulo. Ay, sorry, sobra na to. Until 8, no? Kasi anyway, guys, pagbasahin niya to, 0 naman laman yan eh. So, ang present value niya magiging 0 din. Okay, close and then plus the initial investment. Negative naman siya, kaya plus na. Okay, so this one, and then copy to the right. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds, guys, to input. Okay, paki-chat nga, please, if you got the same answer. Okay, thank you, Ada. Okay, yung rest, guys, the rest of you, guys, paki-chat naman, please, kung, yeah, thank you, Richard, thank you, Mario. Okay, good. Mark, salamat. Okay, so pare-pareho tayo, no? So based on NPV, sino yung pipiliin natin? Of course, guys, si D. No? Pero guys, kung titingnan natin, kasi si D, okay, si D kasi, di ba, hanggang 8 years siya. Okay, so malamang yan, mas chances are talagang mas malaki ang NPV niya. Okay, kung tingnan natin si C, guys, si B, no? 4 years lang siya. So there has to be a way of comparing them. So we can't just base it on NPV because we cannot compare them kasi magkakaiba nga yung term nila. No? So how do we do this? How do we decide which of the two, which of the 4 is best? So we will need first to compute for this one. Ito. This one. Present value interest factor of an annuity of 1. So what does that mean? Okay, draw muna ako ng timeline. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, hanggang 6 na lang muna, 5, 6. Magkakaiba silang time frame, di ba? Si Project A, 6 years. Si Project B, 4 years. Si Project C, 5 and 8. And D is 8 years. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to get the present value of an annuity ordinary. Okay, annuity ordinary, ano, of 1. No? So ang value siya, ang annuity of 1, and then we'd like to know what is the present value of that. Okay. So what is the present value of an annuity of 1, 6 years or 5 years or 4 years? So magkakaiba. So magkakaiba yung magiging ano nito, guys, yung present value interest factor of an annuity of 1. Okay, the bigger one will be si D, no? Mas pinakamataas yung pinaka PV niya, no? Present value. Okay, so how do we compute for that, no? So PV to. And then just have one formula to copy to the right. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds, guys. One formula lang, ha? Copy to the right. Sige, stop share muna ako. Pause share. Pause share. Okay, so I'm getting these values, guys. No? 4.11, 3.04, 3.6, 4.97. Isang formula lang, copy to the right. Please chat, guys, if you got it, so that I know. Kung hindi, guys, I'll continue discussing with you para we save on time. So a few more seconds. So you got it? Okay. Okay, Eva, isang formula lang ha. Eva, can you share your formula? Pakichat yung formula mo to the class. Eva? Oo, dapat isa lang ha. Isang formula lang ha. Dapat pag drinag mo, okay pa rin yung formula na yun. Okay. All right, so that's correct. D5. Okay. Okay, what does count A do, Eva? Ano ginagawa ng count A? Hello, Eva? Okay, non-blank cells. Okay, so this is correct, no? Okay, so we're going to use the count A. Kasi pag count A, guys, so this is equal to, we need to get the present value, negative PV. Okay, negative PV. Ang rate natin, 12%. I'll just copy this, link here, comma. Enter natin is, so for project A, dapat 6 siya. For project B, 4. So how are you going to do that? Hindi tayo pwede maglagay dyan ng absolute value dito. Pag naglagay tayo ng absolute value dito, tapos drinag natin, mamamali na tayo. No? So we can use the count A function of Excel. Count A, sabi dyan, counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So yung may laman lang. Ang gagawin natin, highlight natin from year 1 up to year 8. Okay, so ito, guys, this one, ang answer nitong count A na to, okay, this one is 6. Kasi, ang may laman lang, 6, no? Okay, then comma, it's an annuity of 1, okay? Walang future value, and then 0. Okay, ordinary annuity. So, take note, guys, annuity of 1, huh? Okay, so that will be our formula for present value. So, pwede natin i-copy to the right to. Okay, well, if you take a look at this, yung count A natin andun pa rin. Okay, so ilan to yung binilang niya? Ayan, 4 lang, no? 1, 2, 3, 4. So correct siya. Okay, so we have okay, hanggang 12:30 tayo, no? So I need to end with this. Okay, so we can now get the annualized net present value. So the annualized net present value will now be this one divided by this. Okay. All right. So we can see now that the annualized value based on the annualized value, mas maganda si project B, no? Kaysa kay project D. Okay? So this is what we do when we have unequal lives ng projects, no? In order to determine sino yung mas magandang project. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng i-base lang natin sa NPV. Kasi kung NPV, syempre mananalo lagi yung mas matagal na project. And that's not necessarily so. So that's why we use the annualized net present value. In this case, si B yung mananalo kasi its annualized net present value is 31,448, bigger than any of the other projects. Okay? So paki-chat nga guys kung clear so far. Okay, good. Any questions? Okay, salamat. Thank you. All right, so let's go to this one. As I mentioned, guys, dito tayo mag-end 10 minutes. Okay yun. Kaya natin to. This one, we will not be able to discuss this, but I'm going to record this and kindly watch, guys. Ipopost ko yung recording nito. No? Okay, so multiple IRRs. Okay, so what's unique about this is that our cash flow, tingnan yung cash flow natin, guys. Ang cash flow natin, may outflow tayo sa simula, tapos may net outflow din tayo after year 0. So the net outflow can be in the middle or it can be at the end. So basta may negative ulit na cash flow. If you have a cash flow like that, then that could mean, guys, that there are more than one IRR. So tingnan natin, is equal to IRR. Okay, values natin will be, okay, everything. So that's our first IRR, 3.91. No? 3.91 yung isang IRR natin. And then, let's try to get, what's the next IRR? So IRR ulit, same values. Dito papasok, guys, yung guess. Dito, maglalagay tayo ng increment. No? Maybe let's put 5%. Guess natin that the other one is 5%. And then it returns 3.91 pa rin. So, dagdagan pa natin to. Ano kaya? 10%. Pag 10% siya, hindi pa rin. No? Kasi kung dagdagan natin, let's make it 20%. Okay, there. So we were able to get the next IRR, it's 30.28. So notice, guys, dalawang IRR tong project na to. One is, and this happens, guys, if we have cash flows that are negative, not only in the first year. Okay, so we're going to plot the NPV IRR. Yung increment of 2%, guys, pakilagay nga dito sa taas. Tanggalin natin sa baba. Okay, we're going to set, guys, a series of numbers. Ito yung magiging, palitan natin to. Gawin natin WACC. So let WACC range from 0% to 50% at 2% na lang. And then, kukompute natin NPV and then we're going to plot this. So home, field, series. Okay, it's in columns. Step value is 2%. And then stop value is up to 50% natin ilagay. Okay, so that's now up to 50%. And then let's insert in our WACC yung 3.91 at saka 30.28. So 3.91 will be after 2%. So let me push that. And then papasok ko si 3.91%. Okay, para ma-distinguish lang natin, lagyan ko lang siya ng, okay. So ito yung IRR natin. That's the first IRR. Then let's go to the next IRR, 30.28. So let's insert a row here. And then equal natin si 30.28. Okay. Then copy na lang natin yung format na to. Format painter. There. Okay. So we now have, assume natin ito yung mga WACC natin. No? These are our weighted average cost of capital. So the question is, let's compute for the NPV based on this weighted average cost of capital. And let's see what will be the NPVs. Okay, so NPV. Okay, rate is 0% here, comma. Values natin will be from year 1, diba? Tapos kailangan i-fix natin yung row. Okay, no need to fix the column kasi hindi naman nagbabago yung column position, pababa natin siya i-copy. So that's the inflows and then plus the outflow at year 0. There, tas naka-fix din. Okay. So that should be our NPV formula. Kukunin natin NPV based on the different weighted average cost of capitals. Okay. All right. So we were able to compute for our NPV. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute or a few seconds to catch up. Baka masyado ako mabilis. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask the question. Okay, any questions, guys? Paki-chat naman kung ready na. If it's okay for me to proceed. Okay, thank you. Others, please. Sana maka 50% tayo na na response. Okay, kulang pa. Let's wait for the others. Few more seconds. I'm hoping for more responses from you. If you were able to do this table. Okay, a few more seconds. Okay, thank you. All right, good. Thank you so much for your responses. Okay, what we're going to do now, guys, is plot natin to. No? Kasi pag kunyari ang WACC daw 0%, ang NPV mo -10. So hindi pa pwede yan. No? Kung ito yung project natin, tas kung ang WACC natin 0%, which of course, practically hindi naman pwede mangyari. No? Pag 2% yung WACC natin, ang NPV natin, -4.25. So this project, itong project na to, no, is not feasible. Now, pag 4% lang, okay, pag 3.91%, okay, 0 yung NPV natin. So whether we do the project or not, okay lang yun. Kasi parang break even lang natin yan. No? However, pag yung WACC natin mas mataas, okay, the NPVs will be higher. Okay, it will be higher. And then, pagdating sa 30.28%, 0 na lang siya. Tapos beyond 30.28%, negative na naman siya. Okay, so reject na naman tayo dito, no? Okay, so let's plot this. Back my question. Okay, thank you. All right, let's highlight WACC at saka NPV. Okay, and then insert. Choose this. Yan. Okay. So, notice guys. Okay, tanggalin ko lang to. Okay. So on the y-axis is our NPV, no? On the x-axis is our weighted average cost of capital. So lahat guys ng mga lahat ng mga may NPV na below zero, itong mga to, no? Reject yan, itong mga to. So that corresponds to WACC na greater than 30.28. Okay, pag greater than 30.28 yung WACC natin, hindi pa pwede kasi ang NPV natin zero. So here you have two instances of IRR. 'Di ba? Ano ba yung sabi natin sa IRR? The IRR is that rate of return where the NPV is equal to zero. So una ito, no? Okay, ito. Yung una. So let me just click muna natin. Click and then click ulit. Yan, isa yung point na yan, no? Tapos mag-plus tayo. Data labels. Hello. Okay, lagyan natin data labels guys, no? More options. Edison? Ay, kuya, wala kami ngayon sa bahay. Sandali guys, sandali lang. So, item sa Antipolo ko pinadeliver yan eh. Okay, so paano yun? Wait, wala kami ngayon dyan. Okay, so X values, okay. All right, so inano ko lang guys, no? And then the other one. Cancel na lang daw yan. Cancel. Another click para makuha lang yung isa. And then dali, sorry. Plus data label, more options. Ano nangyari dito? Wait. Tingnan number na sa amin. Sa Masbate. Dito sa Manila 1. Kulit nito Okay. Yan. X value. Yan. Okay. Tumatawag ako sa amin. Ilang time na. Okay. So, let me just put a box here. Okay. So notice guys na okay. It's already time guys. I hope you'll allow me to just finish this. No, 1 minute lang. No? So ito yung natin dalawang IRR. Take note 3.91 at saka 30.28. Okay? So those are our two IRRs. And notice guys that they are ang NPV nila 0. Diba? Andun sila sa line na x-axis. Okay? As you can see here, ito yung unang IRR natin. Yan. Ito, no? At saka ito yung pangalawang IRR natin. Ito. 30.28, NPV 0. So this is your X, this is your Y, this is your X, this is your Y. Okay, now, in between this, guys, pag yung WACC natin is between greater than 3.91 hanggang 30.28, notice that the NPVs natin dito are positive, no? Ibig sabihin okay. So if the WACC is between 33.91 hanggang 30.28, for this project, for this specific cash flow, okay yung ano natin, okay yung project natin. So this is the, tawag natin dito, acceptance region, no? Acceptance region. Okay, and those, pag yung WACC natin greater than 28, so dito siya, more than 30.28. So lahat ng mga NPVs natin dyan, that's negative, no? Ito din, negative yung NPVs natin dito. So these are our rejection region. Okay, which means, guys, that let me just summarize. If given these cash flows, no, na may negative, this particular cash flows, this is telling us that magiging acceptable lang tong gantong project na to if the WACC, if the weighted average cost of capital ranges from 3.91% hanggang 30.28%. Yung mga less than 3.91 at saka mga greater than 30.28, reject yung project na to. Kasi yung NPV niya magiging negative. Okay, so guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your patience. What chart? What chart? Ikaw, Basti, linaloko mo ako. Okay, so sige, hindi ko i-share sa inyo to kasi what chart ka dyan eh.